No great surprise, but time for me to hang up the little waddle and the little size 9s at the end of the season. It's been been an absolutely brilliant journey. The reason for me over the course of the year, perhaps even longer than that, Monday mornings I wake up and I've got some coaching responsibilities and some playing responsibilities, and the idea of opening my computer and doing the coaching side of things is a bit more exciting, and the passion for that has outgrown the passion to jump in the pool and do my own recovery. I feel like the time for me is right. It's been a reasonably simple decision, which I probably came to in the early part of this year, but probably wasn't the right time, so early in the season to come out and do this sort of thing. So the reason for doing it now, we've had this plan for a while, and it's the last fixtured game in Melbourne this week, so some friends and family that want to come along and perhaps watch me play. It's my belief we'll be there the last Saturday in September, so there's going to be plenty more opportunities with plenty to play out in this season. But as far as what's pre-fixtured and people can organise, I thought this was a good time to get it done. As far as thank yous, it takes a lot of people to get you to this position. So for me, my parents in the early days, driving you around. It's only now that I've got kids that are old enough to be driven to sport that you realise what a commitment that is, and how much parents have to give up. So to my parents, thank you for the early years. To Peter Lenton, he's my manager, but he's a guy who's much more than that. Without his guidance, I don't know where I'd be, but it wouldn't be sitting here in such a positive position. So to Peter, for all you've done, gone well beyond the call of duty, so appreciate that. A lot of people help you off the field, guys like Ian Dicker and Jeff Kennett, Andrew Kay, Ed Seal, all people that I've trusted and relied on throughout my career. You just so many good people in football. And I guess Puma, who I've been with my whole career, right since day one when I was running around at Box Hill, all the way till last year, when I played my 300th game, they made special boots for me to wear. So when you have a relationship with one company for such a long period, something's gone right there. So appreciate that too. To Hawthorn, obviously sitting here being a 1-year West Coast player, but a 15-year Hawthorn player, it's not the easiest thing to manage how to do the thank yous. But there's a couple of people in the early days. Peter Schwab, who gave me my first opportunity, and David Parkin, who was the first person that said this guy can play, and I'm going to continue to challenge him and try to make him better. So you've got to be thankful for people like that. The era that I guess I'll be remembered for as a player, there's a few people that are key in that. Obviously, Alistair Clarkson, Luke Hodge, Mark Evans, Chris Fagan, Andrew Lambert, Andrew Russell. Those guys all go well beyond the call of duty, all have really key posts for long periods of time. And I feel like all of those guys spent so much time and effort on me as a person and as a player that I'm just thankful to all of those, and I'm just so lucky that I was able to spend so much time with such good quality people. And the way that I left Hawthorn, I think was a win-win for everyone. I've really got a good relationship with everyone at that club. But moving here, I've absolutely loved it. Coming over to the Eagles, it was a bit of a shock to everyone. But I've absolutely loved my time. It's a fantastic footy club. We've been through some reasonably tough times, particularly the last couple of weeks from an external point of view. But every day you come to the footy club and it's just a happy place to be. Everyone's working so hard. Everyone's on the same page, trying to improve, and I'm really excited for what can happen in the next 8 weeks. I don't look at this as there's 4 games to go. I'm looking at this as 8 weeks to go. There's a lot of life left in this season, and I'm really excited to pursue that, not just myself, but with the rest of my teammates who are just a great bunch of guys. You get a guy like me that's probably polarised the footy community for a long period of time. The way they've embraced me, I had to speak to them. I spoke to the boys yesterday, and the way that they've embraced me after 8 or 10 months is just first class. Great bunch of guys. I guess to the AFL community at large, it's an amazing sport, amazing industry. Hugely lucky to play 16 seasons and such a great game. And so much has to go right. I feel like early in my career, as a person, I was one of those guys that kind of gave up, the Saturday nights, and when everyone else was out having fun, I stayed home and did the right thing, and I'm really proud of that now. All those sacrifices you make in the early days of your career, I'm glad that I made them now, because sometimes it doesn't work out, but I feel like the universe looked after me, and I had some success along the way, and hopefully a little bit more later this year. So thank you to the AFL community at large. And then last, I left this last because I'm hoping I won't get too emotional, but to the family sitting over there. For starters, Lyndall, I guess, all my success has been since we met, really. It's been well over 10 years, and the way that you've always supported me has been, first class. And we had 3 kids in 1 year. Your mum had Alzheimer's disease and passed away, and I couldn't always be there because obviously the football commitments are not very flexible. So to not always be able to be there was hard, and you never complained. You always stood up and always had faith that I would make the right decisions. So I just wanted to say thank you. Smith, Scarlett, Emmy, I asked them what they wanted me to say, and they said, you can just tell them that we said it's okay if you want to retire, Dad. So getting the okay from the kids, that was important. They've moved across the country on the back of me saying that I think it's a good idea and I think we can do it and we can pull this off. Lyndall and the kids, they didn't ask questions. They just said, if you think we can do it, then let's do it. And when you have the support of people behind you like that, then you can achieve a lot. So I'm obviously going to take some questions, but I just want to say thank you even to all of you guys. I've been on both sides of the camera and realised that you guys make the game what it is for all the people that spend all the money, that put the money into the industry. And I just am so thankful to sit up here and be able to have had the best job in the world for such a long period of time. And I'm really thankful to the game itself. So,
Sam, what were the issues you wrestled with in terms of whether you may go on, you may not go on, and did you talk to Simo, and who else did you speak to about it?
Yeah, I spoke to a lot of people about it. I obviously spoke with Simo. I've been pretty comfortable with this decision for a long period. I think early part of last year, I think next year will be perhaps my last year. Something would have to go drastically different for me to play on again. And I probably came to the early part of this year, and I said I think I'm going to be ready to retire at the end of the season. And it's not a physical thing. The idea, when I think about getting up in the morning to go to work, I'm still hugely passionate. I'm really excited to get there, but I find myself really quick to go and jump on a computer and look at where the game's happening, how I can help young players, how I can do that side of it. When I think about how I can work on my own stuff, I still am really diligent. I still do everything right, but my passion has just started to shift more to the coaching side of things. And I mean that, and I don't know if everyone watched the Bulldogs Essendon game on the weekend, but you watched that. That was lightning quick. That's a quick game, and my mind's keeping me up with the game at the moment, but that won't last forever. So I mean, I'm really comfortable with the decision. And if Simo said, no, we're desperate for you to play next year, I'd say thanks, but no thanks, mate. I think my time of being able to compete at the level that I want to compete at is not quite done yet, but it's getting close, and I think another year would be one too many.
And playing on this year, how do you think it has gone for you? I mean, the story will still be written because the finals are ahead, so who knows? But how have you felt about playing on? Did it feel like the right way to go, and you think it worked?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have changed it at all. I've absolutely loved my time. I had great closure with Hawthorn. I played my 3 hours game last year, and I felt like I left on really good terms. Everyone at Hawthorn has been really supportive. I didn't play against them this year, which I don't know, that kind of felt right now. I mean, I would have loved to have played. At the time I was fuming that I didn't get to play, but now, I never played against them, so the fans never cheered against me. But I think what hopefully I've been able to bring for West Coast is just the start. I've come over here for a long period of time, and as a player I knew that would not be my greatest contribution, but to be able to be a part of such a great football club and a positive place, and a place that I feel has got such high standards and is going onward and upward, I'm really excited to be a part of that, and I wouldn't have changed it. I wouldn't have changed it at all.
And just on the Hawks, obviously a big weekend for Ruffy. Hodgie tried to get off his so he could play. I can imagine you're feeling the same way about your former teammate as well and what he's been through. And
yeah, it's
big for him as well.
Yeah, great story, Ruffy. I went. We were really lucky. I got to go along to his first game back, which was great. And I mean, sometimes you get caught up in the little things in footy, form lines and ladder positions. But when you have a guy who's coming back from cancer and he's the first-year captain of a footy club, it puts things into perspective. And so happy for him to get to his 250th, and I think he's got plenty of footy left too. So I think we're playing about the same time, so I won't be able to watch it live. But I think he'll make everyone around him proud, as he has for a long period of time.
Sam, is it an awkward or weird feeling being here after 16 games in West Coast? Your most memorable moments, obviously, as a Hawk, and then you've already got your future already set out, but at this club as well.
It's different. It's certainly different. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. But I don't find it awkward. My past is with Hawthorn, but my future's with the Eagles. I've spent not even 1 year of at least 4 years in the West, and I've absolutely loved my time so far. My family absolutely love it over here, from a city, from a state point of view, and as a football club, it's just an absolutely great place to have to come to work every day. Get here early. I love being around the footy club. Today I came in an hour or so ago, and there's a bunch of guys in there, working away, and having that environment, that camaraderie, I just absolutely love that. So, my future's at this football club for the next 8 weeks as a player, but for the following few years as a coach, I'm really excited, genuinely excited. I can't wait to get my teeth into it. I don't know what the role will be exactly, but whatever it is, I'm grab it with both hands and make the best of it.
You spoke about the waddle and also the speed of the game maybe being against you, but the football smarts from us in the media, obviously you were well ahead of many players out in the ground there. Is a senior coaching position something that you would like to entertain in the future?
I feel like I'm the first year rookie. Maybe I've already been drafted because I have the job ahead, and I've just got to put my toe in the water for a start, and then see if I can swim. But I've got plenty to learn. I guess it's like asking the kid who just got drafted if he wants to be the captain. It's not on your radar at the moment. I need to work really hard and learn a huge amount. Being a player does teach you a lot, but having to coach players is a vastly different thing, and I've got a whole lot to learn as far as being a coach goes. But I've always been a learner, always been someone that wanted to try to get better. So I'll continue to do that, and my coaching will be far better this time next year than it is right now.
What is it about coaching that really excites
you? A couple of things. I love the sport, I love the game, I love where it's going, but also the relationship side of things. There's probably just about no better feeling in footy than when you work with someone and you teach them something, and then they grab that, they do it in a game, and you know that you've had a part of it. That is a genuinely good feeling, and I imagine that's why people go into teaching, that's why people go into coaching, because their influence is just so wide. So when you can have an influence on somebody, and obviously for me, I know the people who have had such a significant influence on me, and they were all coaches, or almost all coaches, and knowing that you've got that power comes, obviously a big responsibility comes with that power, but having that power and that responsibility is something that I really can't wait for that to be my full-time role. So in 8 weeks' time.
Adam, what made Sam a great player?
Talking to me? I think I Sam that one. Oh, look,
It's all class. I mean, obviously today and the way he's handled this, with the decision he made, perhaps a little bit earlier in the year, but I think you've got to look at what he's achieved, and you know, very, very comfortably you could say he's one of the game's greats. And his biggest asset's his brain, and what he could do on field and carry that body around for 15, 16 years, multiple premierships, captain, Brownlow, all Australians, all the accolades are there. But what he's learnt to off-field as well has probably rounded him out really well. And like I said, all class. And what he's done for us, albeit at the back end of his career, and we need to obviously reflect on the career as a whole, and we're a very, very small part of that, and we're really proud to have him at our club. But obviously, the majority of his work's been done at Hawthorn, and you know, the balance and the reason why he's here is because he's a West Coast player. But I think as a whole and as an industry, he goes down as one of the game's greats, doesn't he?
Has he got all the attributes to be a good coach in your opinion?
I hope so. That was the reason why we've been working pretty hard with Sam for a number of years to, you know, I had the privilege to coach Sam for 4 years as an assistant coach. So the work he's been doing on his own, off Broadway a little bit to prepare himself for the next phase of his life, and he's ready to get into that phase of his career, and we're here to help and support, and you know, it'll take time, but I think he'll grow into a really good coach.
What sort of role do you think he will fill next year?
I've yet to work that out. You know, you don't want to pigeonhole anyone yet. Well, now that he's made the decision and it's official, we'll work through it at the end of the year.
Sam, you spoke about your waddle, you spoke about the size 9s and the late draft pick. What made you so successful in footy? What was the reason you succeeded so much?
I think I just always could find a way, whatever the game threw at me, whether that was my body shape or you know, I couldn't kick too far, or I just always found a way. And that early in my career, that was for me, and then probably later on in my career, it was even as a leader. You know, I needed to change things to grow different parts of my personality and my playing ability. You know, one year I hurt my shoulder, so I had to learn how to become a half-back. You know, I think I just always managed to just find a way. And I think it started off with me, but hopefully what I'd be remembered for is not just finding a way for myself. I think I got the best out of myself, but hopefully I'll be remembered as someone that got the best out of everyone around them, whether that be players or coaches. But I always feel like I was able to get the best out of myself and hopefully bring a bit more out of everyone else around me, and that's sort of what I prided myself on. And being that ability to not give up and just find a way is probably I guess when I look back, that's the trait that was the most consistent through my career.
You mentioned this team winning a premiership. Is that a throwaway line from a retiring player, or is there more to it?
This season is, I mean, it's been crazy, hasn't it? This has been a genuinely up and down season. I think so many things have happened, so many close games, and no one is the dominant force consistently through a season. I've been in this position before where you just have to have the right form at the right time of year. Is our form good enough right now to go and win a premiership? No. Do we have the capability within our four walls to do that? It's not out of the question. So I'm far from giving away anything in this season. We have 4 games to go, and our focus is, once this is finished, my focus will go purely onto Sunday and trying to go after the Saints and get a win there, because if we get a win there, everything's in our court. And although this is it's difficult to look over, you know, a 16-year career and then to actually be focused on 2 hours on Sunday. But once this is finished, I'll take the family out. The kids have got the day off school, so they're pretty happy about that. But we'll spend the day together. But once today's done, my focus will be purely, and the football club's focus will be purely on St Kilda on Sunday.
Tough question, but did you affect Matt Prittis's footy, do you think, at any stage this year by coming across to the footy club?
You'd have to ask him, but I don't think so. And if I did, I hope it was for the better. We worked really closely together in the pre-season, and we learnt a lot from each other, and I'm sure we're going to play some games together in the later part of the year that will show that we can do that. He's the best inside mid I've played with, and I haven't played with him for very long, but he's got some attributes which are absolutely outstanding, and perhaps I wished I'd played it a bit earlier in my career. I might have learnt some things that I could have implemented a bit better, but you know, I've absolutely loved working with Pritter, just such a professional person, and you know, his stamp on this football club is so significant. From the first minute I walked in, you could tell the influence that he'd had, particularly on the younger players, and just from a cultural point of view. There were some things that were different, and I realised pretty quickly that a lot of it came about from the way that he went about his business.
Sam, who's the next senior figure in the Eagles midfield? Obviously, you and Matt come out and leaves a fair hole in terms of experience and leadership.
I think our midfield is got a fair bit of depth. We had on the weekend we had 7 players who did 10 centre bounces or more. So that's more than I think anyone in the competition would have at the moment. So there's guys like Andrew Gaff and Luke Shuey who are at that age where you know they're ready to take hold of the place, and it's there. Without being disrespectful to Pritter or myself, I think it's their midfield now. They're the guys that you look to, and then there's you know, Jack Redden and Dom Sheed, and I mean Liam Duggan's playing in the back half at the moment, but he grew up a midfielder. Jackson Nelson the same. So there's plenty of depth in our midfield, and I'm really excited to work with them in the future if that's what the role ends up leading towards. But as I said, there's plenty of depth right now.
And your Hawthorn memories, have you got one that stands out? What, if you had to look back on that, 4 premierships?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, the 4 premierships is the easy one. That when the siren goes of a premiership, there's not too many feelings that challenge that. From a personal point of view, though, it was probably for my 300th game, and I think the reason for that is we knew it was coming, and the kids were old enough to look forward to it, understand it, and know they were going to be a part of it, and that is something that not too many people get to do. That's a pretty unique experience, to have your kids run through a banner when they're old enough to know what's happening and old enough to look forward to it. That's that memory to share. I mean, your family is your most important thing, and your footy is your next most important thing, and the premiership's just sharing with these people that you've been on such a journey with for such a long period. But your family is a whole nother realm, and when you can share something special with them, they're memories that you could never have asked for as a kid growing up. You always want premierships and all those things, but that's something you would never even thought of, so that's pretty special.
So you knew this was coming, you're still quite emotional. Does that surprise you, just that it's welled up and family? And
yeah, it's probably looking over at my wife, and she was crying. Like the kids said in the car on the way here something about, "Oh, Dad, you're going to have more energy to, play soccer with me in the park." And then I looked over at the wife next to me in the car, and she was welling up, and I thought, "Oh, don't do that when I'm in there, or that'll make it tough." But I'm not too emotional. I've kept it together pretty well, I thought, until you asked that.
Adam, you said Sam ranks comfortably amongst the greats, but specifically as a decision maker, ball user, have you known someone better?
You'd struggle to find one. I suppose that that gets spoken about a lot too, and reflecting just while Sam was talking before, I think the other thing that goes a little bit unnoticed is his will to win, the competitive instinct. Whether it's table tennis, indoor cricket, footy, he'll cheat to win. Obviously not only on field, but every time we have some sort of internal scratch match, there's a challenge of the rules, and an argument takes place. And I think that combined with the footy smarts and the ball use, went for a while there where he wouldn't get tagged, and everyone had to tag him, and he'd find a way still. So look, I'm sure the niceties will come, but I think when you really reflect on what he brought to the game, not too many people can change the way the game's played, and I think he was part of that at Hawthorn.
Sam, I think I've asked you this before, but are you left or right footed?
Right now, or?
What did you start out as?
As a kid, I started off as a left footer, but I had to change my technique. I was one of those kids that dropped the ball with 2 hands, so I spent a year changing my technique when I was about 13 or 14. And in the middle of that, I had a coach who thought I was right-footed and yelled at me for kicking on my left, thought I was lair rising. I did two things. One, I became a right footer, and two, I got a dictionary and tried to figure out what layer rising meant. So I became a right footer about the age of 14. Yeah.
Is it strange doing your announcement here? Is it a strange feeling given how much of a legend you are in Victoria?
No, it doesn't. My past is Hawthorn and Melbourne. My future is West Coast and Perth. So I've loved, and for you guys, you've seen me 17 times in a West Coast jumper, but I go here to work every single day. So, you know, I feel like I'm part of the West Coast Eagles, and I'm going to be in the future. All my future planning, all my holidays, just booked a holiday to Broome the other day, you know, something I wouldn't have done when I was in Melbourne. So I feel like right now I'm a West Coast and a West Australian person. So I'm glad I'm here. It's been an absolutely fabulous 10 months and looking forward to the next 8 weeks in particular, but also a few years. So no, I think I'm pretty comfortable being here.
The Hawks fans, what would you say to them though? Because you're one of their greats.
Yeah, I mean, to the Hawks fans, I'll say two things. One is thank you, because it was a huge journey that we went on, and I never felt anything but supported. And even, I mean, I think it shows the professionalism of both clubs, but Hawthorn being able to, for me to leave in the way that I did and to be still embraced by the Hawthorn Football Club and the fans. Not one Hawthorn fan has ever come up to me and abused me. And I can't imagine there's too many people that have left a football club and could say that. So the way they handled, the way Hawthorn and West Coast together handled my transition from one club to another was first class. I couldn't have asked for it to be any better. And I mean, the Hawthorn Football Club, you look at the way they've handled themselves this year with a scratchy start and then righting the ship. You know, I feel good that I've left them in a good position. You know, they'd be pretty happy with where they're at right now, I'd imagine, for the future. And I'm really happy with where the West Coast Eagles and myself are at for our future. So hopefully it's been a win-win. But to the Hawthorn fans, thank you for embracing me for such a long period of time.
Is there one of the four flags that stands out that is your favourite? No, I haven't reflected on it too much, but yeah, premierships are pretty good.
Not 15.
Not the 15. The other three.
Will you get together with the Hawks boys and have a farewell at some stage?
Well, I haven't organised it yet in the last half an hour, but I'm sure. I mean, I think it's a 10-year reunion next year for the 08, so I'm sure there'll be something happening. But I'm sure. I mean, we got plenty to happen later on in the season. After we win the grand final with West Coast, then I'm sure I'll catch up with all the Hawks boys. But yeah, we're still pretty close. I caught up with them when they were over in Perth a couple of weeks ago, and you know, you spend enough time with guys that it's just, you know, kind of like family as well. So I'm sure we'll be spending plenty of time with the Hawks boys at some stage in the future.